Hello and welcome at episode 477 of the Decide for Impact podcast. Today you are listening to the conversation with Elif Kuş Saillard. Elif, a sociologist and methodologist, is a scientist of understanding with over 2 decades of expertise in qualitative methodologies and computer-aided qualitative data analysis. She founded the NAM Qualitative Research Center in Istanbul in 2013, training many social science researchers globally. Elif developed the meaningful experience model to help organizations and individuals cultivate meaningful experiences. Her pioneering Understanding Leadership program unlocks the superpower of understanding, promoting consensus, and overcoming polarization. Through this work, she aims to contribute to a sustainable future by helping people enhance their understanding, fostering a more connected and harmonious world. My name is ErnoHannink, and I share my expertise and knowledge with you. I coach entrepreneurs so they take decisions to grow and impact. In this conversation with Elif, we talked about the update of the IDG framework, where she plays a key role in gathering all the data and bringing it to the new model. It was a wonderful conversation, extended conversation of the one we had last year. Enjoy this one. Let's get started. Welcome in this new podcast episode. Today I'm talking again with Elif Kuş Saillard. Welcome, Elif.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we spoke about a year ago. Actually, it's now June 17. Once this is released, it's going to be August, but we spoke in June 2024. So we spoke about a year ago. So, but we did in the meantime, you came to me after a conversation with Federica Russo of the idea to do a workshop in the Netherlands for the IDG world here. And I gladly accepted because I thought that was a great opportunity to show people what you do. And so we had like, was it 24 people or something in the room? It was a crowded room. And you talked about this topic that was at that time when you invited me to do this, very new, very fresh. So I thought it was an interesting event. I think a lot of people kind of like got teased or maybe even agitated that they didn't understand it well and was kind of maybe even frustrated sometimes. So why only four? So there was like a lot of noise going on, which I thought was really interesting because it was a very theoretical session.
Mm.
And I think it is good sometimes when you're very practical as an entrepreneur, for example, that you have some time where you just focus and think about things or think about new things and experience new things. And I thought this session was exactly that. So I liked it a lot. So what I wanted to do today is to have a conversation about what you told us there and go a bit deeper into the four body model because that was the topic that you talked about. Okay, let's first start. How did you come up with this four body model and what is it exactly?
Thank you, Arno. Before that, I want, but maybe I can forget, so I want to add, you said it was a theoretical, and you said it's also good to have this kind to for the thought, for our thinking. And I want to say something. In today's world, we have so much knowledge and information. And what I did there is, yes, I know, very abstract maybe.
Abstract, yes.
Okay, but you know why? Because it's a kind of deep dive into the deepest assumptions and deepest an encounter with that level, very deep assumptions that we build reality upon it. That's why.
Hmm.
So for me, there are two different kind of theoretical. So if it is only like we are also a little bit like obese, like information obese, like if it is another version of that, for me, it's not good. For me, it's like that. Okay, it can be theoretical abstract, but not to come up with a something a kind of fancy putting all the concepts together. No, no, it's not that, but deep dive into the. So that was my intention. And yeah, what is this four body model? It sounds a bit bizarre, maybe weird, also maybe. It's also very interesting that I first introduced this in public space. It was in Doha, and it was a kind of art workshop. It was also IDG workshop, and it was 200 high school students, and it was when I first I started with question how many bodies you have, and there were like up to seven answers. Like I said, wow, good. Then it's not so weird maybe to to say we have four bodies. But I didn't have time to listen them. Why? Anyway, and then second time, thanks to you, your help, our and Federica's support, we did in Utrecht. So yeah, where it comes, I nothing is invented, but there is something innovative. That's for sure. That I must also accept that. So there were already there is already a concept like three bodies, and which I heard it from Arawana Hayashi. And Arawana Hayashi is a Japanese artist. She is founder of Social Presencing Theater, and she's co-founder of Presencing Institute. She works with Otto Scharmer. In fact, all this idea of social presencing theater is originated together, in fact, from their encounter with Otto Scharmer, her and Otto. So one time, I saw, I watched a YouTube video, and she was saying this body, and she was really like very good showing and stepping the floor and with the feet and showing that this body, and meaning that earth body, and this body that we are together, social body. And she said these they are one body. They are together, they operate simultaneously together. This is your one body.
Yeah, just to be clear, because you showed it on the video, and
Yes.
when you're listening to the audio, you don't see you. So this body was the first body. She was pointing to
My
herself.
body.
So there was the physical body. Then the
Yes.
second body is the earth
Earth,
body,
earth body.
is the earth that we are standing on. And the third body is the body of the social body that you're a part of, right? So the whole social system that you're.
For example, two of us now.
Yes,
Yes.
please continue.
And because I am a sociologist, really it struck me. I loved it a lot. And I had a chance to participate in one of her workshops in Paris. So I feel very, very lucky. After that, this concept, because I'm sociologist and I really love this body concept to talk about all the social life, like this is your social body, then I revisited all my theories or my concepts. And at the same time, my relation with technology, and as a methodologist, because I'm a methodologist, and in my methodology work, scientific methodology, social science methodology. So there, I always worked with technology, which really the way I produce scientific knowledge always thanks to that technology. And I always had a kind of augmented thinking, augmented analytical processes and thinking. So I was following technology and future imagination, this kind, very much I was in. And also, the never-ending story. I'm like this now, the book that I'm writing all together. So there was a moment because Federica Russo, she's a professor at Utrecht University. She is also a professor of philosophy of science, and she works on methodology. And I was following her a lot. And then I discovered, in fact, her main study, and it is a published book. It is called, she's comparing the division in science, the philosophy of science, the division around technology. And she clearly shows from the start of the science, modern science, there is a division, like in the philosophy and methodology of science. The division is around based on this like technology, the role of technology. Like there is a camp or group. She says she calls field tech. So they are focusing and appreciating or prioritizing maybe technology, the role of technology in the scientific knowledge production or research. And there is another group considering all the methodological processes and knowledge production processes, but only focusing on science in itself and all the analytic processes, and considering technology as a tool. It's a tool. It can be there or not. It's not so important. Like so, camp. But in she showed this clearly, and she was saying, calling and saying that there is a gap, and gap can be the place where all possibilities can arise. She was saying that this division is illusionary. You cannot think of technology like there is epistemology or methodology that really is very essence, and either with or without technology is not matter, or I use, but this kind of very dualistic and very like distance way of formulating things. She was calling and saying it's not like that. And she was in true, of course. Now I am a bit excited. I can't give all the names, but there is a field, or there are some you can a group of scientists or philosopher around this that you can really also see that in between, not so many, but a few were addressing that this is not true. And always in scientific production, in fact, technology and human researcher, subject, scientist entangle. I can say like a kind of entangle, or they both have agency and they contribute with their agency. And that is the web of interaction what counts, what is most important. It's not who is the subject of this process. It's not that. It is not the division like subject, me, scientist, an object, for example, this, and I, I am investigating, I am experimenting this object, like me and out there. And she says that she was saying that no, this is the process and the interaction. And without that process, without this, I won't never be able to create that measurement and get that result also. And me, that so there was a moment, a real eye-opening for me, and I said, "This is incredible how deep some assumptions, even in me, because in all my methodology classes, even my maybe books and articles, I was saying two things without even questioning, and I was saying at the same time, this technology is empowering. It is like augmented version of you. this is it is more than a tool. I was able to say this, but at the same time, in some places, because I was repeating the general mm, like terminology and the classification, and I was continuing that rhetoric, or I don't know, in science also this exists, that expert terminology, and there at the same time I was positioning the technology as a tool. So it's in fact it's contradictory, and I was doing it without even aware of it. So then she opened my eye, and then after, yeah, I don't know, before or after, then this three body, and suddenly I said, it's four body then, because it's four body because we cannot even imagine ourselves. Uh, it's like in French, dès que, the once we have that tool, we created a tool, and once we have it, then it will be with us. That's for sure. There is no way going back. And while it is with us, if I am sitting on this chair, for example, the screen, whatever, while it is with us, then it is becoming part of us. So, like it is in our thinking, IDG dimensions, for example. It is in our thinking, it is in our relating, it is in our sensing, feeling. Because me, for example, I'm sure you can find many examples, many people can say many examples like I I have this screen that I'm so much use, and I sit in front of it, and then all my brain activities, creativity flows in a way very that I don't feel like. But if I change the screen or the size or something, the tool changes, and then suddenly I don't feel anymore that I am in my body. Then I have to really rewire myself. So this shows that it is our body, it is in that operating system. So why we create this separation also with technology. So and what is interesting also, please stop me if I talk too.
I I want to make one remark here.
Mm.
Um, Actually, a couple, but one specific one is that I was at this talk a couple of years ago, and this guy was also like you just mentioned, it is about these deep assumptions, right? We have these assumptions that we build everything upon, right? So as a entrepreneur, we do the same. We have a lot of assumptions of how a business should be built or how things should be running, and we build everything on those assumptions. We don't even think about it anymore. So he was asking the people who were wearing glasses when the last time they saw their glasses. And was that like a minute ago? Or was it like 5 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago, or a couple hours ago? And most people said, well, it was a couple of hours ago. It was like when I put them on this morning, right? And he says, that's funny because you're using your classes now. You see them now, but you don't see them anymore because they're so connected to you, right? They're so invisible. They became so invisible to you. And I think that's exactly this, right?
Yes.
So glasses is another technology. It's not. It's a very basic technology that we are so it's just glass and it's just symmetrical or asymmetrical and everything. That's why we see better or see differently. But it's a technology, and it's the same thing that I forgot who the author was of this book that I read lately, who talks about how the human is the only animal
Mm.
who isn't able to survive without technology.
Exactly.
We
Rob.
can't survive without technology. So it's like you just said, it's a part of us, right? It's impossible to live without technology. And the other remark that he made is every time when we have add a new technology, it feels like it's amputating a limb, right? If you when we invented like the bicycle, we're
Yes.
amputating our legs,
Yes.
right? And I was writing down in my journal this morning because I'm thinking a lot about AI, and I know you do that too. I was going like, oh, so if we accept AI as a technology, we are amputating our brain.
Mm.
I was writing that down this morning.
Very nice. Okay.
So for me, what I like my eyes opened in the workshop about this part, how we see technology is like something external. It's easy to blame everything that's going wrong in the world on technology, right? So how innovation and technology make everything good, but also at the same time it makes it worse. So climate change is all because of technology, right? We drill oil from the ground, we use it, we burn it, so everything is technology. It just ruins the whole planet. And we make it external. And at the same time, you explain and you make me see, no, it's part of us. It is. And so for me, that was like an eye opening. It's easier for us to accept or to see it as
Definitely.
foundational, that it is external so that we can blame things on it. And once we would internalize it, that becomes a lot more difficult because we are
Yes.
part, or technology is part of us.
Yes. Yeah. Um, exactly. And what I can, you're giving very good examples. Concerning the amputation of brain with AI, it's interesting, yeah, good saying, yes. The only, yeah, it shouldn't be like that. So, yes, exactly. So then it comes to, let's remember then it is not only one body. So it is the techno body operates in four body. So then it requires that balancing. So me, my brain, earth, social body, all these bodies simultaneously in a balanced way, in a harmonious way should operate. That's the that's where we must focus. We must put our attention. So in fact, again, I go back to IDG framework, this inner compass, the skill in under the being dimension. And the definition is very beautiful. I can't say exact mot, but it's like reminding us inner compass is uh, the good for whole, it says. The knowing and doing good for whole, and that you do you have it?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So it says having a deeply felt sense of responsibility and commitment to values and purpose relating to the good of the whole.
Yes, good of the whole. This is very important. So, in fact, okay, good of the whole. Then what we assume, what people see now in this in today's world, they directly imagine the sustainability, for example. Then it comes like the whole is nature and me, for example. And nature, me, and the social body, maybe. These three can come together easily, but we distance, we separate technology from it most of the time, very deeply. So if we don't put them together, we will never, we must see this four body is in fact that whole. That whole is that four body. And for, for me, our task is to integrate that. And it's a continuous work and it requires many skills, many things. Yes, of course. But it's a never ending task. And maybe almost now I feel that because, it's always in my mind. In any moment I can find, I'm thinking and reflecting on this a lot. And then sometimes I say, okay, human being, as you said, do we know when this human being was able to live without technology? Do we know it? We assume, but we don't know. And there is strong evidence that the what we call history, all the historical evidence that we have is in fact thanks to technology. In fact, and from that technology, the cave drawings, the tools, even the spiritual places that human created. Now the oldest known is now in South Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, for example. It is a spiritual place. It's like a game-changing discovery, for example, and people see in the history when they say it's really changing the history because this we witness, we learn that we see thanks to this that spirituality is existing even before agriculture. Okay, good, but are we focusing also on the technology? That spiritual thing, that big stones with drawings, that T shape, in itself, it's also technology construction. So you see spirituality, social body, techno body, how entangled. So sometimes I say, then it means the deepest existential question for me now is like, okay, then this must be the game. Maybe this is why we are here. And the whole game is about this integration then. It's not with or without technology because, as you know, there are many activist ecologists in denial of technology also. Even
Hmm.
this exists even before this sustainability issue. There are, you know, sects, many communities like that. Okay, maybe not so many,
The
but
Mormons, for example.
yes, exactly. It always existed.
Hmm.
So in fact, the question is not that technology or not. The question is how we integrate, how we create beauty from it. And life creates beauty. I think for me, life is beautiful in itself. And from there, how we can learn and we can integrate. Yeah.
Okay, new questions that have come up. First, one of the things in the workshop, people were saying, okay, why is it only four bodies? Like,
Mm.
why is not the spiritual body a part of this model, right? So the spiritual body is like the spirit that's out of us somewhere, like above us. It's not in the body, right? The spiritual body is somewhere outside of us. So that was a question that people had. Why did you decide for only
And
four bodies?
energy, yeah, we can also call it spirituality or energy. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. In fact, it is this notion that something material, something gain a shape as some degree solid shape, we can say. So like I'm touching, I'm solid, I am like I'm touching this or like so body and earth the same. So body is in fact as it's not me that who is saying, but body in itself is a very very interesting concept.
Hmm.
And Husserl, phenomenology, in phenomenology, many philosophers, so they really focus on body, and they say it is that's the 0 point, that's the starting, because there is something happening. The form, Daniel Siegel was saying in his workshops, he was saying the formless source of all forms and its energy. Formless source,
Formless,
yeah,
right.
formless source of all forms. So that's the
Wow.
energy. And so we know that now. We know energy. There is no doubt, and we know in science today, in physics, We know that there is nothing solid, in fact. You go deep, 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 and there is nothing solid. It's a very moving energy. Okay, very good. So the body is, in fact, is the moment it is materializing.
Mm.
That complexity, it's a complex thing that we don't know all aspects, of course, luckily, and we will never know. That's also good. And then the moment that it is mattering, or it's gaining this forming and somehow mattering or matter, yeah, becoming a matter
Hmm.
entity, relatively solid form. There is then we call it body, and then it has, then when we see body, when we recognize, when we name it, then we need to look at, can I see the four elements integrated? Can I make an analysis of it? For example, if it is this form,
The glass, yeah.
yeah, then it is this. Do I see earth body in this? Do I see social body in this? This one, for example, is a very social body, like a Turkish coffee cup.
Yeah.
You know, it must be this shape, for example, very social body. And earth body, it is ceramic. And
You say social, I would say culture.
yes, social body, in fact, culture is is the form of gives form of all this what we call social body.
Right. Another thought came to mind this morning. So I was journaling about this whole idea, right? I'm reading Bijul Han. It's in a video now. I will put it in the show notes. He's a professor, teaches in Berlin. He wrote a couple of really good short books. The one I'm reading now is about rituals. What I was thinking about after reading a section of the book was how we exchange as humans knowledge and how we learn as individuals by exchanging knowledge, right? We have this conversation.
Yes,
That's when new knowledge, well, maybe just a little bit, but new knowledge appears.
yes.
And Nora Bateson talks about this by calling, she calls it warm data. And now after reading Byung Chul Han, I think that's the wrong word because data is not the same as knowledge. Data is just cold. It's numbers. It's it's
Yes, no.
yeah. Well, that's what he describes, right? So, and I can go along with him.
Mm,
But the thing is, what I've experienced was we have a conversation, you and I now, and our conversation becomes better. Our thinking becomes better when we talk, when we have this conversation. We test our knowledge by having this conversation. You bring in your knowledge and improve my thinking on this topic. But when I do the same with a technology, with a computer, let's say AI or a LLM, that's a different experience because my knowledge may get better, but it doesn't get alive
very good
because
example, I
because
know.
you have an interaction with me, and by your social body,
Yes,
you help me to understand. You see how I respond. But if I have the same conversation with a computer, he may.
or she
I'm
may.
yeah. I was saying he. It may. Um, but then I'm externalizing it, and that's not what I wanted to do, right? He or she may improve my knowledge by giving me new insights, by giving like five options for what I'm thinking, but it will never be as connected or as
We shouldn't say never. That's we don't
well.
know.
And I agree, but that's I think there is a danger. I feel there's a danger in that
Of
that
course.
we outsource our knowledge to a machine and we accept what the machine comes with an answer without questioning that.
Yeah,
A lot,
it's
I see a lot of humans doing it right now,
very
right?
big problem. Very big
Yes, yes.
problem. I agree. Very big problem because it's like the amputation, as you say.
Yes.
The moment, the reality, and the richness of web of interactions. And you say why it is if we have conversation human, because in fact, the social body is there, the physical body is there, that energetic field is there. So in fact, this with this form, the body, the entity interacts, but in fact, all the elements of this fluidity that we don't see, the energy is there also. In fact, so of course, all many complexity amputation. In fact, we can call like that. If it is the age of complexity, science, the paradigm, then amputation of complexity, that's for sure. And the other danger is too fast,
Mm.
too fast. And also it is the societal problem that we are not yet there to create a good, you know, in terms of sustainability, it's also peace, justice, well-being. So
Morale.
yeah, we are not able to do that yet. And we have many problems in doing that. And then we don't fix it and focus it, but we compete around technology only. It's like a computation on numbers, computing on speed and numbers and performance again. So of course, then it's a very big danger. It is. But in itself, on the other hand, I want to admit, and we need to admit and welcome this wonderful technology at the same time. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Erno, without these LLMs, AI, I would not be able to really in the last 2 years that all what I did, I produced. I don't say this in terms of speed or performance. No, I don't say in that. For example, I say it's like a real support in a different way, not in terms of speed. Imagine my English. For example, even it was Federica, and she's one of her email was written. What was it? Yeah, it's my own words, no AI included, something like that. When I saw it, I said, but this is a kind of luxury. I can't say it because my English is not as good as somebody else can afford writing it. So for me, it's very natural, very good that I'm using in my writings, exchange with emails and all this. But I can still, maybe I can modify it. Instead of saying yes or no, is it there or no, I can say I am a conscious user of it. I own all the intent, all the politics or all the or ethics inside. For example, I can say this, and this requires me first in like a cultivated already a physical entity ready to interact in a way in a very good deep and high conscious level. So we need to cultivate that human first. So
Mm.
that's why
Mm.
IDT is important.
Right. That's an interesting point. Yes. Yes, I'm very cautious with AI at the moment. Not that I don't that I believe that we're gonna be in a, they're gonna take us over. That's not the feeling I'm having. I'm just, like you just said, the speed is just huge. And then there's this focus of a couple of technology companies who
Performance.
most of them are in the US or in China. So they have a lot of control of the data that we give to them freely. And then we have to pay to get something back, right? So we give everything away, and when we want to get it back, they have control. So these companies have a lot. So that's why I'm very careful what I'm doing, to be very conscious, like you just mentioned, to be very conscious of what I'm doing, like this conversation, right? It's making very deliberate decisions of what I'm asking,
Yes.
of what you're sharing, of what you not that you want to hide something, but to make it understandable for me to connect with me, to make sure that you answer my thoughts and feelings and questions. You make a very deliberate decision of what you are talking, what
Thank
you're
you.
saying, right? And that's I think that's the same for me with AI at the moment. I'm very deliberate of when I want to use it instead of just asking stupid questions to this AI to just support the whole system because people say this is the new thing that we all need to do. And I don't agree with that part. I think we should be very deliberate of when we want to use it.
That way is the problem. That way of relating and thinking is the problem.
Hmm.
So I have we, you, me. So that's why people like us need to work and contribute to society. We,
Hmm.
instead of ignoring and opposing, then criticize a lot, but do something, offer something. So that's why also this is a kind of this four body model is in fact I want it to be accessible everywhere for everybody. It's cultivating consciousness and what you said. So you are important. So the question, what is your homework for this? We need to open space, open every. I think every human now, those we call very competent at something. Okay, has an urgent homework to open space to integrate AI into their work, be a good model, and also give back, teach the way which is ethical and good integration. If you don't do, who will do?
Yes, that's an interesting point. Um, and I would say, I think my job right now is task, mission, right? So, is to be more working on the inner development of humans. I, I can't do everything. Like we had a short conversation before we started recording, and you have to make decisions. You have to make really good decisions. Where do you want to spend your time? You can't do everything. That's how I feel about it, right? I make a deliberate decision of where I spend my time. I rather spend my time having this conversation with you and learning from you than following a education in a university, for example. I could do that. I think if I do that, I get a degree and it's going to be like very, I have another degree, which is really great, but I prefer having these conversations. So I make a deliberate decision to start a podcast and having these conversations. And same thing with, I am making a deliberate decision to see how I can make people aware of the importance of inner development, of building a better world for us. If people are working on inner development, they will make better and more deliberate decisions on working with LLMs or ChatGPT or anything, right? AI or whatever. So to me, I think that's a great start for me is if I focus on inner development, which is I think is an important thing that I think is important because I think if I develop myself on these skills, I'm a better human. I'm able to share, to have these conversations, to be aware of what you're saying, to listen carefully, all these skills that are in the framework to use and to share with other people, say
Good
so
of
they can do
all.
the same thing. So like you just said, to be the person who's living it, who's showing how this works, how it could work. I'm not saying how this works because that makes it like this is the only thing that's true, but that's not really the truth. So that's why I'm careful with AI, but also I'm careful with my time. I can't do everything. I will use AI when I think it's important. If I think it's okay, this is a moment that's really important to use AI to show something, but I prefer to spend my time human,
Good.
on the human part, right? On the me body, also the social body, by the way, and also the earth body, by the way, and also the technology body.
But you're doing podcast. It is the techno
I
body.
know, I know, I know, I know. So by talking to you, I remember. Oh no, it's all four bodies, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, in fact. In each moment, we are in four of it. But the question is not one or other. The question is the integration, how well we integrate to reproduction of life.
Right, right.
And I see what you say. I agree. But I think also there, I can, when we listen back, maybe we will see in a better way. But I felt like already the change your the way you formulate a little bit it changed, I think. Instead of saying it's a danger, I don't prefer, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's instead of totally excluding it, you've reframed in a way that I focus on this because this will enable that integration. So even this is helpful. Even this is helpful. Do you know why? Because it's not only these rational beings in corporate world. We are at home. We are parents. We are maybe not mother, but you are, you have nephews or whatever. So with the children, with young generation, the relation. Imagine we constantly put guilt on them
Hmm,
as much as
hmm,
we do.
hmm, hmm,
Like, uh, so we don't create because they are in technobody a lot. We
hmm,
know this is
hmm,
reality. Everybody knows it now. They are in technobody much more than all others. If especially also very interestingly, uh, the adolescence time is period is the time when the social body is developing, and
hmm,
normally in that period they are their attachment is like a kind of competing. They distance themselves from parents and family, and they are very much in their friends, which is a normal, very normal, natural. But even now, even this is under threat because they are not going out from their room. And when we ask, hey, why don't go and meet with your friends? And they say, I'm seeing them already. They are chatting and this kind. So instead of cutting, blaming, and this kind, we can say, hey, very nice. This is your techno body and it is good. But also we have this body and this body, and the task is to integrate. This is more peaceful and more agency oriented.
hmm.
The other is cutting, like distancing and cultivating guilt.
If you look at schools, in a lot of schools, technology is being integrated very early on. So children learn on iPads or computers or laptops. And if you make it very negative, you could say that's the technology environment, the technology companies who are forcing us into their future, right? So they're pushing us into the future where we have to use technology all the time. So we are becoming their workers in a very early age. And I like that thinking, the whole thought of preparing children to become workers of the technology instead of using technology to create a better life. How do you imagine, with your expertise, how we could help these young children, but also, like you said, the adolescents, to understand and use the other three bodies more in these environments?
The starting point is not blaming
Hmm.
and not only focusing on the danger and trying to almost giving the impression that it is also like amputation. It's like that they have an arm and suddenly you come and you say, hey, this arm is not good. You can't, we must be very careful. This is very dangerous. It's almost the same. Don't start from there. Start from your whole body is good. Your whole body is important. This is the complexity. And cultivate all of them so that you can be the designer of starting from your life and starting from your society You can create whatever you want in whatever profession, job. You can be the creator. You can be the innovator. So the very different approach. So then this is very promising, very motivating. Then they can, interesting. And then we can create many games. Let's check how we integrate, because otherwise, because I know I was the other type. That's why
Mhm.
I know I was, there are many people like me, very anxious, very afraid. I was like that. Even I say my daughter, she was 5 years old. She had nightmare one day. She woke up, she said she saw a very big robot. And this reminded me, Elif, you talked in front of her and she absorbed your fears. So that's why I'm saying, so instead of this fear-based, trying to, cut radically, distance radically, but include, but and teach integrity. Teach that now you are floating in this technology. Hey, you're floating, but where is your social body that it is also you need to touch? Where is who you hugged last time? Like, and where is the when you hugged the tree last time? This kind of,
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing that as a teacher of young children, so not adolescents because they have more space to think for themselves. But if you're really young, you're copying from the people that you see, like your parents or the teacher. But I think there is an interesting role for teachers and parents, like you just said, is to make them aware of the other bodies, right? To see how they can not just push them to the machines, to the technology, but just to make aware that everything is related and how you could use this. And if they are younger children, of course, you play games because we learn so much from playing games. I think that's interesting. Okay, let's.
welcoming technology. This changed me also.
Yeah,
Now I'm like this. I'm like, welcome. I'm so happy. Wonderful. What we will create now with this. But in this way, I can focus on the problems that we create in a better way, in a constructive way. Otherwise, that's it is a paralyzer. It's that negative thinking is really paralyzed and makes me passive. Maybe not for everybody, but there are, many people like me, our operating system, it's even shown scientifically.
mm,
If we start, we shouldn't start from the negative, from the positive. So the first thing, technology is good. We always live with that. We have great technology today. So we start with that and then we say, but hey, we have many problems of integration. We have many, many problems. And we should be careful about the performance orientation. We should be careful about the competition. We should be careful about the consumption. These, they don't even, I didn't even use technology, the word. So then you see where the problem is.
yeah, yeah. And I think I was just when you were just saying that before about becoming passive when you go from the negative. I think it's the same with the climate, right? I don't think it's we see that's the same with climate change, right? We when you just see this everything that we do as negative, you will just like freeze. And young people right now, they are freezing. They don't know what to do, and they're just trying to just continue their life as normal as possible, but they have no idea what the future is going to bring. So I think that's an interesting way of looking at it is by looking at it saying, okay, welcome technology. I know you're there. This is a good thing. And we have at the same time these concerns, and we need to look at how can we make this work better than it is today, right? So and like efficiency, like speed is not the answer, right? Making everything more efficient is not the answer to it's not it's like using a hammer for every
Exactly.
solution, right? Oh yeah, if we just make it faster and more efficient, it will be better. That's not true. That is not true.
On the contrary, um,
Yes. Interesting.
you need to
Okay.
slow down, digest.
Yeah. I have. two more things that I hope we can touch on, and if necessary, we're going to have like another conversation and dive deeper later on, maybe in a year. But that's fine. But two things that I want to touch on, because one thing I want to make sure that we talk about, because that's where you shine right now, is you have a role in the inner development goals environment. What is it that you do?
The global framework, IDG framework, update process. So in this year, in summit, IDG summit in October, there will be a new version of IDG framework. And this new version is all about the first one was, yes, scientific, yes, but it was, how can I say, even they themselves say maybe Western centering a little bit. The Western scientists develop it, we can say. And the update is for the purpose of like to make it like real global. So there was a global survey and 22,000, around 22,000 answers gathered.
Wow.
Yes, very, very high.
Because
In
the
a,
first survey, to make it in like perspective, was 1,000.
yes, and only in limited countries.
Yes.
And this is global, like in total responses from 100 countries. Okay, but statistically some are under 30. Let's make them out, but then still like over 50 countries. So big difference. And 22 answer, yes, okay, good. But there was a challenge to analyze, to create finding out of it. And there are phases, of course. The challenge was this. It was an open-ended survey to not impose. It was a very good approach. It could be a version that they already list 23 skills, and then they would go globally and they would ask, you agree or not? Very structured way. You have two options, yes or no. Instead, they ask openly. They wanted to hear from them what people say. And then people wrote text. What is the one skill? So in their own language, in Japanese, in Chinese, in Arabic, whatever. When it comes to analysis, textual data and in different characters, not only in, you know. So that was a big challenge.
Mm.
And also the analysis process, when you have qualitative data, so when you say data, you said data is always called numbers. I said, no, no, this is qualitative data. This is text, words. Another challenge is it's an interpretive process. It's definitely the interpretation of the researcher. So it required researcher from the region, from the country in itself. Not that Elif or somebody from Sweden is sit down and doing all the analysis. I can do. I'm eligible. I'm not bad. But if I do, many interpretive things coming from the context could not be visible. So that was a very interesting journey that we created a wonderful Frederick Linder Krona. He is the lead of this process. He created this researcher community, and so maybe I must check, but almost I feel almost first, and if not first, among the very pioneer that happened in this journey, that co-analysis, like, research co-creation, when you say it's like a fancy word, what does it mean? It can be that you come together and then you generate data and then you divide the task. One is data gathering, the other is analyst, for example. But first time here, in total 20 region country teams were involved in the analysis process. So, can you imagine the challenge and complexity? Uh, but what helped again us, the technology, thanks to technology, we structured in a way. So it was a very interesting journey, very interesting gathering. And now the Delphi, the several steps. So findings, and then it's like a real iterative process that it should be. And now where we are at, it's going well, very well. And we first Delphi happened. After that, and after again the iterative analysis, ongoing on many many other processes, then we have a draft, and we are about to share this now as like we can call Delphi 2 with the researcher group. And then it will be like first prototyping in Caux. Yes,
Interesting. Oh, I'm
yes.
looking forward.
But at the same time, one thing I can say that because I know you are practitioner, you know this practitioner group, and maybe there are people very they produce tools, they produce things, and if imagine if it's a very big change, what will here, for
So
example.
this is, I'm showing on the camera now for the people who are listening. I'm showing the skill finder. The skill finder that I have, we received a skill finder in Caux last year. So this is the one that I received in Caux. And you were also able to purchase the skill finder in the summit in 2024. So it has the 23 skills. It has 3 questions on the back of each skill, reflection questions. And we have an event coming up this week here in the Netherlands, June 19. So we give the attendees the Dutch version of the skill finder. So but the good thing is that we thought about this. We have the same tool, so you can unscrew this and add like 1 or 2 new pages to it, or replace 1 or 2 pages. You don't
Yeah,
have to redo the whole thing.
okay.
So I had this in mind, the whole change of this framework, not the whole change, but the minor changes to the framework.
Sustainability consciousness also.
Yes, of course.
Good. Yeah, exactly. So there won't be a dramatic, like the 5 dimensions will be there. So that's for sure, that's we know. And then the skills will, of course, a little bit, there is a change there, and the descriptions also. But it's a very good from a deep listening, a very, very serious listening. That's a very good contribution, I think. The IDG Foundation's very good contribution to the world. I see it in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting aspect because I think that when I started working with this whole community, let's put it this way, not just saying the framework, but just the whole community, when I started working with the community and learning about inner development and doing the actual work, like organizing events, and in organizing the events, having meetings with the teams who organize the events, and then learning how we can improve these conversations by using the skills, right? I've learned like a number of things by using the skills. When you have the conversation, you don't really think about it, but other people have experience, like in theory, and you see how you use that in the conversations, or how somebody brings up like emotions in the conversations in a meeting, and that's so it's a little bit distant from what like the business environment is used to. So for me, it's like discovery and how can I use this new experience into the business world, because I think it's really important that we see humans, like we see the social body. And I also can understand how it was so focused by design from the Western part, and we are missing like the views from like South America or Asia, because they have a Africa, they have a very different view on, not very different, but a more like integrated view of the me, of Ubuntu, for example, right? Of arts, of energy, like we just talked about, right? So there's so many things that are, I think that we as Westerners can learn from these different cultures. And it would be great to at least include some of this into our new framework. So that would be really beautiful. I'm really looking forward
You
to
will
that.
come to call.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you can when in the prototyping there this is a good contribution. It's important. You will see. Now I shouldn't talk
No,
more.
no, 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 no. So why I wanted to show you as a listener to this, because I think that Elif is somebody who's playing an important role in the IDG environment, in the IDG world.
Yeah.
Um,
I learned a lot, as you said,
yes, yes, but it's not just that you learn a lot, but you're sharing a lot. So to me, that's exactly what like the open source idea, the whole inner development part, the whole idea of not making this like the one tool that we all need, but the whole concept of inner development accessible to everybody. To we release the blueprints of this work, and you are like an example how you can do this, right? You absorb, you learn, you integrate, and then you give back. You become part of the movement. You become part of. You play a role in the research team, and it integrates in everything that you do.
yeah, this is true. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So what I think, not as like a religion kind of thing,
Mm.
but as a practitioner from inner development or as a someone who's interested in inner development, that this tool, these skills, the whole idea of learning, integrating, and then giving back is so interesting and important for us to build a better future for humanity, for the world, for the plants and the animals, everything. Because when we use the skills, the framework, not just the skills, but just the whole thing.
It's an open source.
Right,
Imagine when I
right.
say 22,000 answers, do
Yes.
you know the cost of this process? It's quite costly. So it's
I
a
see
big
it, it's
investment. So I say it's not a cost, it's a costly thing in
correct.
terms of many resources,
Yes,
but it's a amazing investment and give back to society.
yes,
It's an
yes,
open source.
yes.
It's this is like that's why that's the magic. In fact, people are maybe wondering what's the magic in this movement. This is the magic.
Yeah, I'm about to end this conversation. I want to give one more example. Like we've started like 2.5 years ago with the first meetup in my area, with the IDG hub in my area. And I also was involved with the Global Practitioners Network. I'm now in the team. So I've learned so much from these meetings that I give back to the hub saying, okay, we've done this exercise. Maybe we can practice it here. I've invited this speaker from the podcast and learn what we do there and how can we use the skills by practicing the skills in the hubs. And now a couple of new initiatives have come from these meetups, right? These people who are in these meetups, they are also doing their own new groups, looking at things differently together.
Wonderful.
So to me, that's exactly what this is all about, right? To learn, integrate, and give back.
Exactly.
And that's why I purposely want to have this part in this conversation to show how you do that. So I'm really, really grateful for you doing this, for doing that work and sharing with us. There's one topic I wanted to have a conversation with you about, which is you gave a workshop on June the 4th this year, and it was about measurement, on measuring true impact.
Mhm.
But I don't want to make this a longer conversation than it already is. So I want to pause this. So like it's a cliffhanger. So we're going to do another recording, in maybe like the end of the year, somewhere, maybe beginning next year, wherever it fits. By then we have the new framework. We have a lot of new
Yeah.
things to talk about. And I think this would be a great topic then to include at that conversation. So for now, I want to park this and I want to really thank you for
Thank you.
giving some ideas about this technology body, how it's all integrated, how it works together with the three other bodies, and how we shouldn't blame the technology, externalize technology, and we shouldn't see it as a fear, treat it as a fear, but use it as something that's part of us and make it integrate with the three other bodies so that it becomes a whole. It becomes a whole body. And I think, yes, this could be a bit abstract for you as a listener. But I also think if you really want to see and experience how we can create a better world, it is sometimes really important that you look at the abstract of things and discover what you are building your ideas on. Is it the truth, or can there be something else in this, right? Is the foundation correct, or is there possibly a different foundation that you could use in your thinking? That's why I think this conversation is really important to me. So thank you, Elif.
Thank you, Arno, having me. I'm grateful that you gave this space. Thank you.
Dat was het mooie gesprek met Elif. Je vindt de namen en links die we noemden in het artikel dat we deze uitzending hoort. Ga daarvoor naar decideforimpact.com/show 477. Wil je vanzelf automatisch de volgende aflevering van deze podcast op je telefoon ontvangen? Dat kan heel eenvoudig. Heb je een iPhone, dan zit er standaard de Apple Podcast app op. Open deze app, zoek dan naar de Decide for Impact podcast en klik op abonneer. Heb je een Android-telefoon, installeer dan eerst bijvoorbeeld de Player FM app. Zoek dan daar de Decide for Impact podcast en klik op abonneer. Dankjewel hiervoor. Heb je vragen, opmerkingen, reacties over deze aflevering met Elif of over de podcast in het algemeen? Stuur dan een e-mail naar erno@decideforimpact.com. Ik hoor super graag van jou. Wil je leren hoe je focus en energie vindt met jouw innerlijke kompas? Hoe verbinding in je team het verschil maakt? Hoe je vertrouwen krijgt in je collega's en hoe je een moedig mens wordt? Download dan het boek Impact Besluiten waarmee je nieuwe medewerkers aantrekt op decideforimpact.com. Dit is mijn nieuwste boek en je downloadt het daarna helemaal gratis. Je hoeft zelfs geen e-mailadres achter te laten. Vraag jouw boek nu aan op decideforimpact.com. En ik weet, je hebt een volle agenda, je leest het in 1 avond uit. Dankjewel voor het luisteren en graag tot de volgende.